Just when I think my Mint Mobile experience with data has an explanation, it pulls me back in with more twists and turns, leaving me even more confused than before. But this time though, I think I have a working theory. Hi everybody, foXnoMad here, and today I want to help you travel smarter by updating you on my missing data mystery that I encountered while using Mint Mobile. To briefly catch you up, a while back I posted my review of using Mint Mobile, and while it was generally positive, there was this issue I noticed where Mint Mobile kept recording my data usage as being 3, 5, or even more times than what my phone and my usage showed. This kept happening while I was on the 5 and 10 gigabyte plans, but when I switched to an unlimited plan, that unusually high data usage stopped. Then I decided to run a more calculated test. I used my phone as I normally would, but by switching back to a 10 gigabyte plan to see whether or not the overages would reoccur. And well, I've got some interesting updates for you, but first I want to talk about how our phones record data usage since it's the baseline we're going to be using throughout this test. Most modern phones, like the iPhone 14 Pro, will track data usage. Not only will they show you your overall data usage, but your usage while on Wi-Fi and on cellular. And if you've got multiple SIMs or eSIMs, most phones will break down how much data you're using on which service. When you're in airplane mode, your phone won't use any cellular data since airplane mode effectively turns off the cellular antennas on your phone. When you're not in airplane mode but have Wi-Fi on, some phones, like the iPhone, use what they call Wi-Fi Assist, which will basically engage your cellular service in case of weak Wi-Fi, so you have less disruption when you're watching videos or browsing the internet. During my testing for this video, I made sure that Wi-Fi Assist was off, and throughout the average day, I usually have my phone in airplane mode for significant portions of the day when I'm just working, so it's just using Wi-Fi, which leads to about 2 to 3 gigabytes of data usage for me personally on average per month. In fact, those of you who've seen my Cricket Wireless review saw that indeed, around 3 gigabytes is about the upper limit of mobile data usage for a typical month for me. But your phone's counter might not match what your mobile provider says because those two counts are completely independent, so your mobile provider might have one number for data usage and your phone might have another. In previous months, what my phone said did not match up what Mint Mobile was showing me. And that's not to say anything malicious or shady is going on. There are a lot of reasons, reasonable reasons, why those two numbers might not match. So what your phone is showing and what the mobile provider is showing, there are a lot of good reasons why they might not match, but they should be relatively close. Many of you suggested I find out if there are any background apps leaking data, and I've double and triple checked. There weren't any anomalous apps uploading or downloading a bunch of secret data. And even if they were, they should match what Mint was registering as my total data usage. So I wanted to check, and you might remember from the previous video when I originally contacted Mint Mobile to see if they could pull up my data records, they told me they don't keep such records on hand, so they couldn't show me how much data I was using in the past months. Now, in between making those two videos, Mint Mobile's chief marketing officer saw those videos and reached out and offered to help to see if they could try to find out what the issue was or at least try to resolve this issue for me. He put me in touch with their VIP customer support. I didn't know there was another tier of support, but it was helpful. I basically let them know about the issue that I was noticing and some account details, and they went to work. They were able to confirm my data usage, but not explain why it was so unusually high. Now before, when I had asked Mint Mobile if they could show me my data usage records so that I could investigate or that they could investigate, they said they didn't keep those records on hand, which I noted made it very difficult for them to investigate situations like this. So it was really nice and refreshing to know that they do keep these records. It would be nice if they had just told me that in the beginning, but either way, I got the records, so I started to get to calculating. In my VIP support case, Mint was able to provide me with the past 60 days of my data usage. It looks like this, and it is very detailed, basically recording any time my phone made use of Mint Mobile's network to pull data in bytes down to the hour of the day. In total for October, there were 7.9 billion bytes of data used, or about 3.75 gigabytes of data. Still, that's a lot more than my typical data usage, but at least now we have some numbers to work with. In the VIP support thread, Mint noted that I had used 6 gigabytes during that month, which is close, but not 7.35 gigabytes. That might just be a typo, but it's an inconsistency nevertheless. Looking closely at the numbers, there were some spikes, oddly when my phone was in airplane mode. For example here, when Mint recorded 660 megabytes of usage, or here when Mint recorded nearly 1.4 gigabytes, again, when my phone should have been in airplane mode. And there's no pattern in the numbers across those 2 months. We've got three big spikes, but on different days: a Thursday, a Tuesday, and a Monday at differing times. Two at 4 p.m. Eastern, and the other one at 11 a.m. Eastern. Then there are days where my data usage is very minimal. Then these big random spikes I can't completely account for. So, what does this tell us? Well, a couple of things. First of all, that the timing where my phone was in airplane mode must not have matched up to when their data records are showing. So, it could be that the data records are off by a few hours, or that those counts are added a couple of hours later, or something like that. So, I don't think there's a problem with the two phones that I've had being in airplane mode. They shouldn't be transmitting any data. And if they are, which they shouldn't, but even if they were, a gigabyte and a half of data when a phone is in airplane mode would be highly unusual. Now, the second thing this shows us is that Mint Mobile is listening to its customers. They did come across my video, they did watch it, and they did reach out to help, which is a good indication of good customer support. They didn't have to reach out to me or provide me with those data usage records. And speaking of, it turns out that Mint Mobile does keep data usage records, at least for the past 60 days. And those will be very, very handy for consumers, but it's only handy if you have access to them. In short, it means that Mint Mobile can check your data usage if they need to investigate any weirdness, and if they made those records available to you, you could check them as well. Remember, Mint Mobile doesn't have their own cell towers. They're a mobile virtual network operator, or MVNO, using T-Mobile's hardware. Now, I'm not sure if Mint Mobile and T-Mobile communicate data usage on individual accounts, so maybe Mint Mobile keeps account of your data usage and then passes that along to T-Mobile, and then there's some fluff or some information added to the data packets so that it's larger usage, so it looks like you're using more than you are. I don't know. I don't even know if that communication or that agreement or something takes place. It would be really nice, though, to see a live counter of how much data you're using, or at least just a daily counter, so that you could log into your account and see how much data you're using to try to pin down days where you might see unusual data activity. That way you could correlate, what your phone is showing versus what the network is showing, and then maybe get in touch with Mint Mobile a little bit earlier before the end of the month to say, hey, something looks off or weird, or maybe just get some clarification on where your data might be going. Overall, in 3 weeks, I'm on target to hit just under 10 gigabytes of data usage, which happens to be my monthly limit. That's less than it's been in the past months with Mint Mobile, but nearly 5 times the amount when I was reviewing Cricket just last month with the same phone. And what's interesting in that case is that my phone was actually showing higher data usage than Cricket was showing me through their web portal. And it turns out that, yeah, I was only using 3 gigabytes. So according to Cricket, I only used 3 gigabytes. My phone showed a little bit higher data usage, but in the end, Cricket showed me what I expected, which is about 3 gigabytes per month of mobile data usage. So you've watched this far into the video, you've seen all the facts. We don't really have a lot of clear answers as to what's going on, but I do have a couple of theories. First, Mint Mobile might not have their data counting system synchronized adequately with T-Mobile, which might mean there's some added fluff data being added. It could be that the algorithms and systems that Mint Mobile uses to track data usage on unlimited plans is different, which is why when I was on an unlimited plan, my data usage seemed to be normal or seemed to not be with these major spikes. But then when I went to a limited plan, because the algorithms and systems might be different, the way they count might be different, the way they calculate data usage might be different, that might be why at those times when I was using the 5 or 10 gigabyte plan, I kept hitting and exceeding those data limits. Another theory is that there is some error or unaccounted for data or communication that is happening which should be filtered out. Something like a ping gone awry. Without some kind of full systems audit of Mint Mobile systems and the way they count data, we'll never really know. And it might be an issue that a couple of users are facing that gets fixed with just a normal, regular technical update. It unintentionally gets fixed, or it might get intentionally fixed, and then Mint Mobile just never discloses that they found a problem and are now fixing it. It could also be user error. It could be something with the two phones that I've tested this with. It could be something that I'm doing wrong. But I think I've done everything I can to really rule that out. And based on the comments a lot of you have left, seems like the Mint Mobile data mystery is not an issue that only I am facing, which all leads me to believe that it might not be an isolated incident. So should you get Mint Mobile? I'm guessing this is not an isolated incident, but still, it's probably not a very common incident. So most of you who are using Mint Mobile probably won't face this issue. If you're using an unlimited plan, you either won't notice or you won't care. But if you've got a 5 or 10 gigabyte plan, you might notice that you're starting to hit your limits. Other than this unusually high data usage that I've had with Mint Mobile, I've been pretty happy with their service until I go over my limits and then have to top up my limited account with another $15 for 5 or a couple more gigabytes of data, which unfortunately has happened every month since I've had a limited plan until the last month, which is when I hit just under 10 gigabytes. So I was just about to cross over and run out of data for the month, which again is unusually high for me. I'm happy that Mint Mobile reached out to me. It shows that they are at least listening to their customers. They came across the video and they genuinely wanted to help. They didn't know what I was going to say in the follow-up video. They really had no idea. I could have completely trashed them. But I think it shows that they're at least being proactive in trying to help their customers resolve these kind of issues. I think what Mint Mobile could do that would help a lot of their customers is to make data usage available through the app so you could see every day how much data you're using. A lot of other MVNO services do this so that you can see, oh, I had, one day where my data spiked. That would help them and you identify any issues, or maybe you're downloading a video or something like that and you realize, oh, hey, my Spotify account or whatever is using up a lot of data or something like that. So you could at least see that your phone is in sync with what Mint Mobile says. And if it's not, you can reach out to them for clarification. And I think they should make the last 60 days of data available like they were to me. More would be better, but 60 days is still pretty good so that you can go back and identify any issues. They can identify any issues, and it's just more data, which means that there's less chance for confusion, and more transparency means that you know what you're paying for. I'm also testing a bunch of other MVNOs to see what their data usage and experience is like. So if you want to see the results of those tests, make sure you hit the subscribe button down below. As for Mint Mobile, it's likely a case of less than meticulous counting rather than malicious data padding. Either way though, it can cause you to go over your data limits, which means that Mint Mobile might not always be the most budget-friendly option. I'll keep testing those, so make sure you hit the like and subscribe buttons down below so you don't miss any follow-up videos. And if you've had this experience with Mint Mobile, let me know down in the comments. I'll be interested to read about your experiences, what it's like, or if you've had any weird data usage issues. Let me know down in the comments. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.